and welcome to Life Less Ordinary. Periodically, we get given scrap foods from other people, and we usually just put it into the compost or give it to the chickens or feed it to the worms. But at the moment, because it's the middle of September and I'm still trying to amend our garden beds down the back in our potager garden, I just wanted to show you one of the ways that you can do it. Now, if you're going to plant your vegetable seedlings in, say, October or September, we can't here because we still are in our frost zone time. But if you're going to plant then in September or early October, then this probably won't work for you. However, if you have a longer frost time like we do, and you're going to plant towards the end of October, early November, this method that I'm going to explain to you will work really well in terms of amending your soil. So, like I said, we do periodically get scraps from people, and what I'm doing at the moment is I'm actually cutting it up into smaller pieces like that. I did have some Swedes which I've just stuck in my Thermomix, so you can put into your food processor just to break it up a little bit more, so that when I put it into the garden, it will break down a little bit quicker. The worms will be able to get at it a little bit easier. So all that's to say, this is a great tip for amending your soil. So what I've done here, I've just chopped some of these vegetables up. I've got a few more to just chop up a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this box down to one of my gardens, and I'm going to dig down in a trench type thing, but dig down a good 20 centimeters down from where I am going to plant, and I'm going to put all of this into that trench, and it will help to give nutrients to that soil, which will then feed the plants that I'm going to plant in the next 2 months or so. So this is a super easy way to amend your soil from scraps that you have, or scraps that you can find, or ask people if they're going to just dump their scraps. Yeah, put your hand up and say, look, I'll take them, and they can become nutrient dense soil so that you can get a fantastic harvest in the coming season. So I've done all of that. Just get the rest of that out, and I am going to go down and dig my trench in one of my garden beds, so this can all be put to good use. So we're down in one of the back potager garden beds, and I've just dug up probably about 20 centimeters down into the garden bed. So the depth of this garden fork, so that I can create a bit of a ditch in order to start putting this compost in. So if you're starting off with just a small amount, you will obviously only need a small hole. The amount that I've got here, I'm probably happy to do a trench the length of this garden here, and I'm putting it under, particularly where I'm going to be planting tomatoes in this coming season. Tomatoes are heavy feeders, so they do need nutrient rich soil, and like I said, this is one super easy way to make your soil nutrient rich. So I've popped in some extra eggshells I've been accumulating. We do go through a lot of eggs here because one, we like eggs, they're a great source of protein, and we have our own chickens, so we have a fairly easy source of eggshells that we can use in our gardens, in our compost. So what I'm doing is I'm just crushing some of these. So as occasionally happens, my phone ran out of storage as I was halfway through a video and I didn't realize. So I kept going with what I was doing with this garden area. So I'm just going to show you the finished product. So yes, I dumped that whole box full of vegetable scraps, eggshells, the egg cartons that I broke up, and dumped it into this garden area in a ditch, in a trench 20 centimeters down, and then I have backfilled it in. So I should have lots of nutritious soil. It's now amended, ready for when I want to plant my tomatoes, in this case, in this area, in about a month and a half to 2 months' time. Like I said, tomatoes are heavy feeders, so this works really well for tomatoes in particular. However, if you are wanting to amend your soil without spending a huge amount of money, without getting soil from the hardware store or from your local soil companies, there's been issues in the last couple of years, particularly with herbicides that have contaminated into soils from the properties that they're collecting manures and other things from. So this way you I guess ensure that you know what's going into the soil to some degree, well, to a better degree. If when we are growing our own vegetables and then putting them back into the soil, I then know that, and vegetable scraps, chop and drop as vegetables finish, I then know that what's going back into the soil has not had any contaminants on it. So this is a really simple way of amending your soil. I recommend it. Works better, particularly for spring planting vegetables and fruit and that sort of thing, if you're doing it at the end of autumn or at the end of fall and through winter, so that your beds are then prepared for that heavy season of growth. But yeah, this is a great way to amend your soil. So if you're not doing it, give it a try, even on one bed, see how you go. But hopefully this is helpful. Thank you for joining us as we live our life less ordinary.